Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gersh1 and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Night Lords as we get into part 2. If you have not checked out part 1, please click on the link above or go to our channel and click on the first episode of the Night Lords 40 Facts videos. Now this was a viewer request, and again, if you guys have any requests for any Warhammer 40K topics that you guys would like to see be created into a 40 Facts video, please comment down below. Don't forget to put suggestion followed by whatever topic of Warhammer 40K you guys would like us to see or would like us to create a video for. Let's get into 40 facts about the Night Lords. According to the heretical handwritten chronicles of his life, entitled simply The Dark, the Primarch Conrad Kerr's earliest memories was descending from the heavens in a crackling ball of light to the night-shrouded planet of Nostromo. Unlike the other Primarchs, Kerr's was never adopted by a human family, and was forced to fend for himself in the terrible underhive of Nostromo Quintus. He spent his early life surviving off his wits and determination, feeding himself by hunting the feral animals that roamed through the vast hive city. Kerr's quickly established himself as a major power in the cities of Nostromo, and thanks to the countless atrocities committed by him against the world's criminal gangs and corrupted nobles, a semblance of law was eventually imposed upon first Nostromo Quintus and then the other hive cities. Nostroman society was transformed, and the ripples were felt all over the planet. Kerr's was eventually recognized as the planet's benevolent dictator. It is during this time that Kerr's earned the name Night Haunter for the vicious murders of literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Nostroman criminals and corrupt aristocrats. Almost a standard century after the Great Crusade began, the Emperor came to Nostromo. The coming of the Emperor of Mankind was an event that had been prophesied in Nostroman history, an event that would lead to the planet's downfall. Night Haunter quickly adapted to the teachings of the Imperium, studying the complex doctrines of the Adeptus Astartes under the Primarch Fulgrim's tutelage. Night Haunter was soon accepted as the leader of the 8th Space Marine Legion that had been created from his genome, which he named the Night Lords. Although he and his legion excelled in many theaters of war, a tendency soon became apparent. It never occurred to the Night Lords to use anything other than total, brutal, and decisive force to achieve their goal. Over the first few years, the Night Lords were molded by their Primarch into an efficient, humorless force, possessing the fanatical thoroughness of witch hunters. Night Haunter encouraged his legion to decorate their power armor with images designed to inspire fear in the enemy, a tactic that proved incredibly effective. Soon, rumors of impending presence of the Night Lords would cause a rebel star system to pay all outstanding Imperial tithes, seize all illegal activities, and put to death any mutants and suspected traitors. The reuniting of Primarch and Legion was the beginning of a spiral that would see the Night Lords descend further into horror and nihilism. After Kerr's departure, Nostromo shook off its enforced peace, returning to lawlessness. From this point, Nostromo fed on the 8th Legion, not with the finest of its youth, but with gutter scum soaked in blood and cruelty. Some claim that this began to poison the Legion, twisting its purpose and making many Night Lords simply murderers gifted with the strength of demigods. This thesis, though willfully ignores a number of factors, no least of which was Kerr's leadership of his Legion. That he came to despise his own sons is likely, but he was still their lord. Far from restraining the 8th Legion, he drove it on, bringing peace through atrocity to planet after planet. Sometimes there seems to have been cause of such methods, but often the only explanation for decimation of populations, for the skinning pits, and crucified cities, seemed to be that the Night Lords enjoyed it. They became not necessary monsters, but simply monsters. Kerr's quickly began to lose some of the control he had over his legion's innate savagery, and the visions of the dark future that plagued him increased both in lucidity and quantity. The Emperor had concerns about the actions of the 8th Legion, and the apparent instability of their Primarchs is clear, but what is not clear is what was done to restrain Kerr's and his sons. There was words, demands, perhaps even threats, but no action, no hand of judgment to throttle the Night Lord's crime. Why this was so is a question that can never be known. but now the Imperium was left only with the consequences. Of all the legions and their Primarchs, the Night Lords were the most sinister and the most suspect. The lack of moderation in the Night Lord's method had attracted scorn and hostility from other legions. Even as the tally of disgust grew, Kurz became increasingly plagued by visions of ruin, calamity, and betrayal. He saw everything he had striven for be broken, the order and justice of the galaxy shattered, and his sons becoming monsters without cause or higher purpose. Kurz became ever more withdrawn, what little shone in his being guttering to nothing, and leaving him with nothing but darkness and the screams of a lost future. Learning that his homeworld had slipped back into corruption, Night Hunter tried to confide in his brother Primarchs, but he had never been too close to them, and their reaction was less than favorable to his claims. Despite the fact that he spent much time with his peers, the Night Lord's Primarch kept himself at a distance, never able to join them or share in their joy. He still fell into convulsions, plagued by prophetic visions of his own death, of his Night Lords fighting wars after war with other legions. But despite the concerns of his companions, he would not reveal any more than dark hints of the cause of his tormented spirit. This feeling of isolation gradually grew into true paranoia, and the gulf between Night Hunter and the Brotherhood of the other Primarchs only widened. Events reached a head following the pacification of the Shurit system, a joint Imperial compliance action conducted by the Night Lords, Emperor's Children, and the Imperial Fist Legion. After confiding in his mentor Fulgrim of the terrible things he had foreseen, the shocked Primarch of the Emperor's Children repeated these grim tidings to his brother Rogo Dorn. Dorn took exception of the Night Hunter's slight of the Emperor's name with such terrible deeds and confronted him. The exact event of what occurred between the two Primarchs is not recorded in detail, but Dorn was found severely wounded and the Night Hunter's personal cadre of bodyguards slaughtered to a man. Kurz then returned to Nostromo with his legion and fulfilled one of his visions. Kurz's judgment was simple and swift. The Night Lords destroyed Nostromo. A few Imperial pursuit craft arrived just in time to see the Night Lord starship open their laser batteries into the hole in the planet's surface that had been left by the Night Hunter's arrival through the warp decades earlier. Nostromo's core destabilized and the world tore itself apart. As the Primarch and the Lord of Crusades, it was his right to liberate or destroy the world as he saw fit, but in the moment that Nostromo died, the Night Lords lost their last tether to restraint, though it would take the treachery of others to bring this change to light. This ruthless behavior did not sit well with some of the other Primarchs and the Astarte legions. Finally, Kurz and the Night Lords were recalled to Terra to explain their behavior, where they were then reprimanded by the Emperor and the Council of Terra. The last straw of the Emperor was when the Night Lords had unleashed an exterminatus upon their own homeworld. Kurz explained his actions to the Emperor by pointing out that Nostromo, in the Legion's absence, had slid back into the old ways of cruel violence and crime. He and the Night Lords were embittered by what they saw as the Emperor and the Council of Terra's hypocrisy, when they were censored by their brutality, even as the Emperor had unleashed a great crusade that used military power to forcefully reunite the scattered worlds of humanity. The Night Lords thought that the Emperor would acknowledge that their actions had been in the right. They also felt that these actions were the direct consequence of the mission that the Imperium had always tasked them with, which was essentially that to sanction terrorism against all who opposed the expansion of the Imperium and its mission to reunite all worlds of mankind across the galaxy. To Kurz, it seemed that the Emperor had chastised him for carrying out the same actions that had once been deemed so vital to the Imperium's formation. Kurz believed the Emperor to be a hypocrite, who was unwilling to face the reality of the means that his dream of human reunification actually required. Angered by the Emperor's rejection of their methods of protecting and expanding his realm, the Night Lords and their Primarch willingly joined the War Master Horus in his rebellion against the Emperor of mankind. When the War Master revealed the treachery during the Isfan III atrocities and plunged the galaxy into the fire of civil war, Conrad Kurz would eventually throw himself into a bitter campaign of death and destruction, giving full vent to his most violent urges. The Night Lords would participate in the epic Battle of Terra and the siege of the Imperial Palace by the forces of chaos. Immediately after the death of Horus, the Night Lords went on a killing spree in the eastern fringe of the galaxy that caused havoc for years after the Horus Heresy. The Night Haunter did not fall during the Horus Heresy, and neither did he receive the dark blessing of the ruinous powers in the form of apotheosis and demonhood. Instead, he met his end at the hands of an assassin of the Calidus Temple named Mishen on the planet of Tusculasa. It is known that throughout his life, Curse had possessed the gift, many would say curse, of foresight. He was constantly struck with powerful visions of the worst of all possible futures, and that his last had been a foretelling that he would die at the hands of such of an assassin. The prophetic psychic ability was passed on to the other Night Lords, who shared their Genesire's genetic heritage. This was a unique trait, as it's said to be unrelated to the Warp Taint, or other known psychic properties. His death did not slow the Night Lords down, as they continued to apply themselves to his mantra, and are specialists in the application of terror and the tactics of fear to this day. Though they paid lip service to the ruinous powers of chaos, and certainly felt its insidious pull, in the end, the Night Lords, like their Primarch, serve only their own twisted conception of justice. After the assassination of Conrad Kurz, the Legion splintered into multiple feuding warbands, as is the nature of those who serve chaos, and eventually relocated to the Eye of Terror. By the late 41st millennium, the Legion has deteriorated in both its numbers and capabilities. There was also continued infighting within the Legion, as there was no clear leadership, with several ranking Night Lords contending for the right to lead the entire Legion. Currently, the Night Lords hire themselves out as mercenaries and elite shot troopers for the forces of chaos, or even for pirates who raid Imperial worlds, such as Huron Blackbeard. They have been known to assist Chaos Warmaster Abaddon the Despoiler in his Black Crusade campaigns when asked to do so, as the quest for their own vengeance against the Imperium continues. Their most infamous post-heresy raid in the Imperium was on the world of Secundus Fall, just a few hundred light years from Holy Terra. Nearly all the raptors in the service of chaos originate from the Night Lords Legion. And those were 40 facts about the Night Lords. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel to get part 3, where we get into notable campaigns. We're going to go into each individual Night Lords warband and talk about their special characters, the awesome battles they've been into, just all that great stuff. So please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. By you guys doing those 3 things, you help out the channel because you're telling YouTube, hey, these guys are putting out awesome content that I want to watch. Keep showing me their content, and it really helps out. It helps our channel grow. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.